guys, it's Sarah. I am 25 years old and I struggle with bipolar 1 disorder. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about the diagnosis process, what that looked like for me. I'm hoping that with this video I can provide others with encouragement when it feels like there's not a light at the end of the tunnel, like you're not getting anywhere, like the doctors don't hear you. It's something that can take time and patience, and the best you can do is the best you can do with what you got, and you just gotta love yourself through what you're going through. But hold out hope, because there is hope. Sometimes it just takes a long time. So for me, my issues, I guess, started late middle school, early high school. I was dealing with a lot of depression. I don't remember having a diagnosis of depression. Like, nobody sat me down to talk to me about, like, let's talk about why you're depressed. Let's talk about what could be triggering it. Let's figure out if it's situational or inside. Instead, they prescribed me a mild antidepressant, and I would cycle. So I would be really down. I would take my antidepressants, I would feel better, then I would quit my meds because I wasn't sick anymore and maybe the medication was just working. So when my situation would change, I would also quit my meds again because I'm like, I'm happy now, things are different and new life, new situation, I don't need my meds again. So I quit my meds again around 19 or 20 when I moved out and started a new life. And as soon as I could, I guess by 21, before 21, I started self-medicating. I started drinking, and drinking very regularly. And it began affecting my friendships, my relationships, my work life, my home life. I think that's a whole other video. I could talk about my alcoholism and self-medication. But wasn't diagnosed bipolar. I just, sometimes I'd be depressed and sometimes I wouldn't. And sometimes the darkness that would hit me would be worse than the time before. And one of my worst darknesses, one of my worst dark times came after a really awesome time, which looking back now, I'm like, I was depressed and then I went manic and then I went super depressed and got hospitalized and diagnosed. So the mania, looking back now, I'm like, that was manic. September, October of 2014, I was impulsive, fast, bold, loud, don't need sleep, don't need to eat, and I'll just drink when I need to put myself to sleep. And I would drink until I vomited and fell asleep. But I was go, 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 racked up a ton of credit card debt. Every time I leave the mania, I'm like, oh, look at that mess I've got to clean up. And the credit card debt is a mess that is following me to this day, and still trying to clean up that mess. And so that was my mania. Then I fell into a deep darkness where I was losing grip on myself. I could see myself slipping off this ledge, and anytime now I would no longer be able to trust myself because I would take my own life because I was that miserable and that broken, and I couldn't see a light at the end of the tunnel. I couldn't see hope for a better day to come because this day is so bad, I can't do this anymore. So those thoughts were filling my head, and when I'm that deep and dark, thinking about ending my life, I could describe as a fantasy. Like, that's where my comfort is, in knowing that if I can't take this anymore, I can take my life and I don't have to do this anymore. I know I have lots of people that love me. I know I have lots of people that care about me. I know I have a great job that works with my disability. I know I have good things. I know I have a dog that loves me and needs me. But when I'm in the darkness, I can't see any of that. So 2014, September, October, clearly manic. Come end of October, early November, all the way into December, the darkness is creeping in and just swallowing me. I am going into work, panic attacks, depression swallow me. I end up in the bathroom vomiting and bawling my eyes out because I can't, I'm just so sad. I'm just so sad I can't work. And those are the days that I couldn't make it to work. There were so many days that were beginning to pile up that I would wake up and I just couldn't do the day. I would start crying when I woke up, and I couldn't stop to get ready for work and make it to work. So I was missing work. I was paying all my bills on my credit cards. And eventually one night I had bailed on some plans with a friend because I would want to do stuff, but I didn't want to do it. I would just want to do it. My want to do anything was gone. No motivation, no desire, no drive. And so I wanted to hang out with him and make dinner and have a good time catching up from high school. But instead, I got so sad that I ghosted him. I didn't text him I wasn't coming. I didn't cancel my plans. I ignored his calls and texts, and I disappeared. I disappeared to the liquor store where I bought a large bottle of Jack, then went and hid out at someone else's house to drink until I was ready to go to sleep, until I could calm down, until I wasn't so sad anymore, until I wasn't so anxious anymore. I just needed to not feel, because feeling was so bad, it was so dark and so scary that I just wanted to not feel. Can I just not feel? So I got pretty drunk, and it was late. I started my drive home, bottle was empty, started my hour drive home, and with as much drunk driving as I did back then, like I'm just blessed that something bad didn't come of it. Grace, you know, sorry guys. But I got so drunk that night, and all of a sudden I could feel my fingers slipping off the cliff. All of a sudden I didn't trust myself anymore. I knew something was about to snap. So I changed my route from going home to my home to my mom's home, and I called her and I was like, look, I am in a bad place and I need you to meet me in the driveway and get this loaded handgun out of my glove compartment. Save me from myself. I know you. Save me from myself. So hour later, get there, she meets me outside, they remove the handgun, they hide it from me. I don't even know where it is. And that night, it was late, that night I just cried in my mama's arms. I was 22 years old, bawling like a hyperventilating baby. And I stayed there a couple nights. And after a lot of talk, a lot of thoughts, a lot of push from my parents, we decided to admit me into the hospital and go from there, because I needed help and I couldn't get the help I needed fast enough, because I might have taken my own life. I was in such a dangerous, dark place that I couldn't do it by myself. I couldn't wait to see a doctor. I couldn't wait to move on to a new medication. I needed to be wrapped in a safe cocoon where I couldn't harm myself and am nourished and cared for until I'm well enough to care for myself. So I ended up finally going to the hospital, went through a long night at the ER, started the admittance process into a mental hospital, and that's a whole other video in itself. The admittance process, how things go at the ER, getting over to the mental hospital, and what the healing process looks like, and just what the whole experience looks like, what kind of people are in there. It's not scary, but I'll go into detail about what that looks like. But that's kind of my story of how I finally got my diagnosis. It was after that hospitalization. After 2 weeks in the hospital, including Christmas that year, I got my diagnosis of bipolar 1, anxiety and alcohol addiction, and a handful of other things. But it took years to finally get that diagnosis. So if you don't have your answers right now, just hang on, knowing that there is hope out there. But don't give up, even if that hope looks far away. That's all I've got for today. I'll do some more follow-up videos later. Bye, guys!